Hi, welcome to the Please Bear With Us podcast, where we talk about family, friends, faith, and anything in between. So, Joey, what's our topic today?
See, I like how you defer right to me on that one. You look
Yeah.
at me like, gotcha, man, I'll start it.
Yep.
We're going there again, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, Tyler, how was your day?
It's been slow. It's been action-packed. No, I'm just kidding. So, got up 7 a.m., took some G Fuel into my system. PewDiePie flavor. It's lingonberry or something like that.
And that's weird. Whatever
Yeah.
that is, that sounds weird.
But it tastes amazing. I can give you some on your way out. But I wouldn't necessarily drink it tonight, though. I would drink it tomorrow.
How much caffeine we talking?
140 milligrams.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
That's like a
It's 2
extra
pops.
large Speedway coffee.
Yeah. I've heard it's 2 cups of coffee, or less than 2 cups of coffee. I've heard that coffee has 100 milligrams apiece for, I think, 8 ounces.
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, and it's got like 15 calories and 3 carbs in it. So
It's not bad at all.
yeah, it's sugar free. It uses like Splenda or something. So I'm able to drink it. So
Tyler drank some caffeine today, guys.
yeah, I did, but I will tell you this: it did not pay off in how I was expecting.
Well, you said you hit a wall, right? You're tired now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, and so normally I don't, but today I did, and I've been routinely getting up at about 5 a.m. And so I've been 5 a.m. Doing. I've been coming downstairs to the office that I have, and I turn on a video game and listen to my Bible like while the video game is muted, and do that for an hour or so. Maybe not an entire hour of Bible listening, but just about. And then after that, I just put my headphones on and play real video games for a while. And then by that time, it's like 7, 8 o'clock, and then I eat breakfast. And so that's been my routine, and it's been nice.
Yeah.
But
It's nice to get an early start. It makes you feel better about your day, you know?
yeah, so my friend in Alaska, he streams on Twitch at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And so when I wake up at 5, sometimes I can catch him. And he started drawing a drawing for me this week. And so technically I've got to catch him another day this week. But I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because I think it starts at like 2:30 a.m.
Is that our time or his time?
So it's 4 in the morning our time.
Okay.
And for him, it's like closer to 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And so, or not 10, but
Midnight, probably.
closer to midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but he stays on for himself until 3 o'clock in the morning or something
Holy
like
cow.
that. So, but he's an artist and he plays Fortnite. Those are the 2 big things he does. And so when he's doing art, I actually drew some pixel art, and somebody did what at the time for his channel, he was doing these things called art redeems, where if you watch his channel enough, you can get artwork done for you. Well, somebody redeemed one in my name so that I could get this artwork done, because I couldn't watch him enough because I was obviously asleep. And they were like, hey, I've got you on this. And I was like, really? You don't have to. And they were like, no, I got you. And so it was very kind of them. And so basically, and I'll show you live as we go, Joey.
So this is unfiltered, right? This is uncensored.
Yeah.
We've never seen this.
Yeah, so it's on his channel. He worked on it like he was like, "Hey, I'm going to work on yours tonight," and worked on it for probably 2 or 3 hours. And so here you go. We're passing the cell phone. But mine is the pixel art, and then his is the drawing underneath it. And it's not done yet. He said I'm going to give it another like 2 or 3 hour treatment. He said he may redesign it, like the whole thing. So, because he said he didn't like the pose or something like that, so he's going to make it again in a better pose, is what he wanted. So, because it's his artwork, he's got control over it. But that's his representation of what my guy looks like. So, it's really cool.
So does he do this all on the computer?
Yes. He has a Wacom tablet. It's basically a big screen, but it's like a touch screen, but you use a pen on it. And so he uses Clip Studio Art or Clip Art Studio, something like that, for his painting that he does, basically. So,
it's really cool. Like,
yeah.
The more you look at it, the more you think about it. So what I'm seeing here, guys, so you guys can know, it's a circle at the top, a bunch of lines, and then sticks coming all for the extremities. But it's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
No, it's really not a stick figure, but it's really cool. So that's cool. Like, it's something you would not expect, and it is very much what you kind of envisioned from your artwork. It's like a modern take. He's focused, guys. He's very focused.
That is so weird because he just messaged me, and I have it on Do Not Disturb, so hopefully there's not a ding in this. I may have to edit out.
Somebody did vibrate in while I was looking at that picture.
Yeah.
I think it was your mom. But
yeah, no.
That's not a your mom joke either, guys.
No,
like, that's the truth. So, I mean, this is the thing. You can't see us. You don't know what we're really talking about half the time, probably, because...
Well, I was trying to talk about artwork, but yeah, so he just messaged me out of the blue and said that he's going to change my artwork time to make it into a daytime stream so that I can catch it. And so that's pretty cool.
That's cool. So just now sent that message.
Yes. His name is Alaska Man Jeff on Twitch. So
so there's a shout out for Alaska Man Jeff.
Yes. I'm going to double check and make sure that's it, though, now that I...
So if you guys notice, my voice really, really stinks today. Not
smells
sick.
Terrible.
Yes, it does smell. Tyler's got deodorant on the table for all sorts of things, apparently. But the allergies, Ohio's great for this.
it's an aerosol deodorant. So you can just spray a little in there like a mint, Listerine.
Well, you could do like some Lysol to kill the bacteria, and then you could do a little bit of spray deodorant, and sounds nasty.
Yeah, so it's Alaska Man Jeff. I just confirmed. But yeah, so since I have spray deodorant on the table, since we're just evaluating my life right now, anyways, it's an antiperspirant, and my hands get sweaty when I play video games.
His
sometimes.
knees weak.
Yeah.
Knees are weak. Palms are sweaty. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. But the whole crowd, they rose so loud. He opened his mouth. Nothing would come out.
The words don't come out.
Yeah. He's choking now. Everybody's choking now.
Time's up.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Over
right
now.
Yeah. Snap back to reality.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes gravity. So
boy.
this is all over the place, and we are so sorry. So we will shift to we've had a pretty wild week, I'd say, and I say we because Tyler's been involved with some of this. We had an event, a men's event. It was called the main event. Nothing to do with horse manes.
Yeah.
But like
Or
the
Gucci
main
mane.
event. Like, you're ready for the big show type of thing, right? That event was unbelievable. Some incredible things happened. Tyler, you want to tell us about that?
Well, yeah, we had some incredible speakers. We had a uh, a guy give his testimony just from our church, and then we had a speaker from a state football team, and that was pretty awesome. And that guy could really preach, so it was kind of like we expected a testimony and stuff, but he really just was outstanding.
And he was incredible, Tyler. He was. I went home and I told my wife, I said, man, the Holy Spirit was really working. I said the Holy Spirit was persistent, I think was the word I used. And then I said, and this kid, because he was 23, maybe 22.
Yeah, I'd say at most 24 or something like that.
Yeah, young guy, but on fire and just raw. Like, it wasn't polished and perfect. It was just real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's what made it even more, just out. I mean, as I've said, outstanding. Like it was really not expected. Like you expect somebody to come in and be able to speak for themselves and like talk about a lot of different subjects, I guess, like because it's like a question and answer style event. But for them to basically take over and make sure that that the gospel is being preached, basically, like he was very adamant. He's like, hey, I don't care because he's like, I don't care about the money. I'm doing this because the gospel needs like spread, and I want like basically it was like I love all you guys, and he didn't say it verbatim like that, but he was just like, if you don't know Jesus, you need to know Jesus, and so it was very very powerful. And then we had another speaker that was just great. Like was a preacher that came in to speak as well, and was very effective, very very intelligent, but brought the truth down to earth. I feel like for everyone to understand, and that was good as well. And so, and then I'm sure Joey wants me to talk about it, but I had actually brought a friend with me to see this, and this friend had told me beforehand that because I invited him, and he was like, "Man," and I can tell you from my side of it is like I was so nervous to invite people, and he said, when you invited me, he's like, it was like the Holy Spirit was working, because he's like, every time I want to dive into faith and get my life back on track, you end up messaging me. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I get nervous to message people because I always feel like I'm interrupting their life. And but he said, no, it was a great thing you did. He's like, I don't like, because it was a football player, so he was like, I don't like football, but I'll come. And he was genuinely searching out his faith. And that night, through the testimonies that were given and through the preaching, he ended up giving his life to Christ and getting saved. And so that was extremely exciting. And then, yeah, I mean, it'd probably be cool if we could get him on here sometime just to talk about it, because being a new Christian in the faith is very cool. Like sometimes we get wrapped up in the day-to-day of Christianity, and we can kind of lose the spark of hey, we are forgiven for our sins, we are not going to hell anymore, and because Christ has taken the sins for us, and we get to live a totally different life because God sacrificed his life for us. So it's just a big deal, and I feel like, as I said, we as Christians can lose that if we're older, like more tenured and maybe downtrodden because of life. Like if you've been a Christian for a long time, it's like, man, this life is tough, and
Yeah.
everybody knows that life is tough. But it's just you think maybe you think it would be like, oh, this should be a cakewalk now that I'm saved, but everybody goes through the same rainy days. So
Well, many would argue, in fact, it may just get harder.
yeah,
But, you have more strength. You have more, you're more prepared for what's to come because it's really then not about you anymore. Your strength comes from, right,
Yeah.
the one, the king of the world. So it's perspective. Tyler, what else happened that night? Did you go swimming?
I did. I was asked to be in the water with him, by him, for baptism. So
Which was totally, basically the baptismal was open and they said, fellas, come on. If we're going to do this, if you want to do this, line up. And we had 3 guys I think line up.
Yep, I think.
And no shorts. I mean, we're talking fully clothed men.
Yeah.
That sounds awkward as well, but fully clothed men.
Well, it'd be more awkward if we were totally naked.
Fully
then.
unclothed men.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was cool. The water was warm. wasn't bathtub water warm, but it was okay. And it was a sweet time, something I'll never forget. So it's been a long journey, and I mean, I had been praying for this person for a long time. I pray for his friends as well, our friends, because we are networked, like the same group of friends. And so it just seems surreal that prayers have been answered, and they're my prayers that have been answered, and I'm sure his family's prayers and stuff like that care about him. And like, I know he went to church beforehand at one point in his life. So he probably had some godly influences there too. So I'm not making it about me, but it's just cool to see that the conglomerate of prayers were answered that night. So
I think the most impressive part of that night, well, no, let me retract that. First off, like I said, the Holy Spirit was so persistent. I went home and I said, I've never seen anything like that. I mean, truly, I honestly, at the end of that night, I thought that pastor was going to look up and say, hey, stay as long as you want. We're going to have a revival.
Yeah.
Like, it honestly almost felt like that was going to happen. I've never felt that feeling before. Like, I almost thought, like, he's going to say it and we're going to do it. Like, and I don't know what's going to happen. Now, we left the 4 walls of that building, and it doesn't mean that stops, because it doesn't. But, the other part of that night that I think was really impressive was for, I think you had a full circle moment, being able to get in the water with him. And knowing your story and where you've come from, I thought, I remember looking up, and I was so happy for you having that opportunity. I'm sure there was a lot of emotion in that. You were excited to see your buddy obviously give his life to the Lord, but I think to be involved with that intimately, right?
mm-hmm.
And that outward expression of baptism, I think that too is a little bit of a testament to you and the work God has done in you. And I go back to, I do think you're going to change the world, and you are changing the world. And I think that you should use that as an encouragement. And I think I think God was talking to you.
Yeah, I look at it as like, maybe I can't change the world, but I can change one. And so
What am I going to say?
That is for one person's world.
Throw your starfish.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you may not be able to change every starfish, but you're changing the world one starfish at a time.
Yeah.
I just really cool. I this week we had another buddy, somebody that I really think just great things of, that came to salvation at a time, maybe that was unexpected for some of us, but we were there for that one together.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he had asked a question at one point as to what else could he do. And that was because his heart wasn't quite right. You know, he had never given it all to God. And to see him free himself from the burdens that he had carried for so long,
it was awesome.
I don't even know how. Yeah, I don't have the words. This individual is somebody that I just think is an incredible person, and just to see the happiness and the joy he truly felt once he truly did it. So here's the message I'm going to say out of that. If there's anybody who has that doubt or asks that question, what else can I do? That's when we go back and we need to examine ourselves, and probably we really do need to give it up at that point, because we probably really haven't. If we have those doubts, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess part of it is that we have to realize, like, we can't do anything in terms of, like, we can't work for our salvation, and like, Jesus already paid it all.
Yeah.
So it is, no matter the work, the deed you want to do to pay off that salvation or whatever, like, it's already been done. You don't have to. It's free. It's a free gift.
There's not a loan big enough. You know, there's not
Yeah.
an amount of money. There's not an amount of work, and the law the law was even defeated, right, through Jesus Christ and His blood. But with that being said, we're still called to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not
and it's not like it's a free ride. So I know
not a hall pass.
The free ride is giving our life, right, giving it to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a price there. The price is I'm giving up my myself, my earthly. I'm taking up my cross, because Jesus took up the cross for me, and I'm going to give it all to Him, and I'm going to trust Him with my life, with my decisions, and I'm going to still fall short. I'm going to fall on my face. But, you know, the thing is, when we're Christians and we sin, I've never heard it this way, and I think you and I talked about this. People say, how do you know you're a Christian? Well, when you're a Christian, when you're a follower of Christ, and you sin, every time you sin, you feel a small portion, right, of the pain that Christ felt when he was on the cross. Because before you're a Christian, I truly don't believe you feel that pain.
Well, it's like, I would say, I don't know, like, maybe it's like I wouldn't say it as like we feel the pain of Christ necessarily, because my viewpoint's a little different on how I interpret that.
Okay.
I interpret that as like I'm nailing a little bit more into Jesus's palm or something like that, because I'm a sinner who keeps on sinning, and it's very frustrating because you won't be perfect, you'll never be perfect, but your goal is to honor the Lord in everything,
Right.
and so the death that Christ had to die is also it's like when we talked about Adam and Eve sinning couple weeks ago. The one thing that the speaker that was at the main event was saying was that they had to, when they sinned, Christ Jesus or God, however you want to say it, the in the Genesis account it says God, I believe, said that now you will die.
Sure.
And so it's not just a physical death, it's a spiritual death. It's because, like, as I sin, I'm like, man, I can't keep doing this or whatever, and like it's a death of the holiness in you in some ways, but that doesn't mean Christ is not forgiven you. It's just like there's guilt there, because I think it's a healthy guilt. Like, you don't want to keep on disobeying or Not that, as I said, not that you can be perfect, but it's just you try to be the best you can
Try to be better.
Yeah.
Well, in the pain, when I say pain, I'm talking about heart hurt. I'm not talking about physical pain. I'm not talking about you're putting the nail. The nails were already put in. You know what I mean? So that I don't think we can even drive that nail in farther. It's more that internal. We're feeling a little bit of that because we have taken up the cross, and I think it's more of a reminder. One that, like you said, there's some healthiness to it, but it's one that morally this isn't right. What I just did, right? Whatever that was, but I think most importantly too, thankfully somebody took all of that for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to interpret it like it's not a bad thing or a physical thing, or we should not live in regret, despair. We should not hold ourselves, to the level of we're always worried about, man, our sin. I screwed up again. I suck. I failed. I'm not good enough. Because we're not good enough on our own, but through Jesus, we're perfect. And that's a whole nother, I think, rabbit hole. But I think we oftentimes do. Guilt is hard because this turns into, right, Satan. Satan uses that guilt, right? He uses that sin against us. Not only the physical sin, but the guilt of sin. Because he's the one on your shoulder saying, hey, Tyler, you're right. You're not good enough. And
he takes it to the whole new level, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because, there is no condemnation with Christ, but with Satan, there's condemnation. You can mess up and then have genuine, concern or something like that. Man, I messed up. But then Satan's the one that's like, oh, no, you're a failure. You bit the bullet and now...
And you call yourself a Christian, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
He plays that card on you. We've heard him even use other. We were talking to somebody. It's been a few weeks ago. I don't know if you remember this, Tyler, but they said, their family was throwing it back in their face when they had kind of in the moment let Satan get the best of them, and their response showed that, and it was like, oh yeah, look at you now, Christian.
Yeah.
And to a point, sure, yeah, look at you now, Christian. You're not being who you should be. Unfortunately, Satan's in this world. Unfortunately, Satan always finds ways to get the best of us, sometimes before we realize it. I mean, I think of, just going through Burger King with my boys yesterday. We're running late to ball, but we're having a good time, and I'm a little stressed because we're running late. Go through Burger King, I order... It was like 2 burgers, 2 orders of chicken fries. One was for me. I was hungry. 1 chicken fry and then a French fry. And I think there was an 8-piece nugget. So we already got pulled up. We already had to wait on our order extra amount of time. It was not the Chick-fil-A way. And they bring the food out. We check the food. I start to drive away. Instead of 2 chicken fries, they give us 2 French fries and 1 chicken fry. So I go back up to the window, or I go back to the door. The door's locked. So that's kind of annoying. You're a little frustrated at that point now. I go up to the window, the drive-thru window, and I'm like, hey, and at this point I was cool. I said, hey, you guys only gave me 1 chicken fry and you gave me 2 French fries. You got it backwards, and instead of just saying, hey, I'm so sorry, we'll fix it, here you go, I was trying to hand food back, She's like, and then she looks at the screen and she's like, oh, no, I only had here, you had 1 chicken fry and 2 French fries. And I'm like, ma'am, I ordered, and then it was like Satan in that moment. And I'm like, are you serious? You're going to sit here and there's some truth in this, right? But I lost it a little bit. And I'm like, are you going to argue with the customer and tell me that I'm wrong? And rather than just saying, hey, I'm so sorry and let's fix this, right? But Satan uses those moments because he knows that there's worldly emotion involved in that moment. And then our response is not godly, Mm-hmm. And I remember got back in the car and I told my boys, after I expressed some frustration, I
these
said,
are my chicken fries.
Yeah, no, I didn't take the chicken fries, by the way. But I told them, I said, guys, that was Satan. I let Satan get the best of me there, and I'm sorry, you shouldn't do that. And that was the first time I'd done that, I think, in front of them like that and said that. I've lost my cool in front of them numerous times. Kids get the best of you sometimes. Not that's always justifiable, but I had owned up to it because, man, he's good at it. He's so good at it in so many ways, of being sly. He's been that from day one, and as humans, we have this desire. We want what we don't have, right? Or what we can't have. And we go back to the Garden of Eden. We were talking the other day, Tyler, there's over 25,000 species of trees in this world. And thousands of those are fruit trees. And in the Garden of Eden, I would guess that they were all there. I don't know. I don't know what was there. I wasn't there, but
yeah, that speaker was talking about
it. But the fact that we were selfish and we only wanted the one of 25,000 we couldn't have. Like when you really think about it like that.
Yeah.
And the speaker even said, like, God never said you can't hang out by the tree or build a tree house in the tree or climb the tree. He said, just don't eat from it. So you just couldn't fully have the one tree. You could have it, just don't eat it. That shows you how, I think, selfishly we can act as humans. And it goes back, I think, even to the illustration of money, right? Where those who, not all the time, but there's a lot of times people that have money, they just want more money, and there's never enough money. I love people who, and I know, and Tyler, people who are very blessed financially, but man, they live in such a humble manner and in a giving manner, and that's what God intends, So I just think that's, I don't know, a lot of things tied up there right together. But the point being, Satan's real. He feeds off of our emotion. He feeds our emotion, and he often gets the best of us.
Yep. I can't say anything other than yep.
Yep. So since I brought up money, I'll go ahead and shift another one. How's that sound?
Go for it. Because we talked about money last
We did talk about
too.
money, didn't we? But so it was interesting this past week. We did talk about money. We talked about, money in the church. It is the most divisive thing, right? Because it often is the thing that you hear scares people away from church or rubs people the wrong way about church. But I thought it was interesting this past week. We were talking about it, and we really dove into the idea of what's it really mean to give to the church, and what that tithe can really look like. And I think we got to that point where we kind of found that it's not just the money, and it's really not about the money. It's about the heart. We know that, right? But we have talents we can give, and we have time we can give as well. So what are your thoughts on that, Tyler?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a moment for a while in my life where I was like, I'm not going to church. So I played video games, and I was like, oh, I'm a walking Bible. I'm the, I don't need church. I'm just kind of searching my soul and finding that, which I feel like a lot of people go through that too. It's not just me. But so I would buy video games for friends or stuff like that just so I could hang out with them. And it wasn't like I was buying them just for like Christian reasons. Like, no, I just wanted to give it to my friends, like out of the but I would sometimes I would be like, oh, that's my tithe in my mind. Would be like, yeah, I'm helping people out, when in reality I wasn't helping people out. And so
you made it, you justified purchase by saying that, hey, this is versus like maybe you didn't physically give money to the church today. This is the opposite of that. But hey, I went to a restaurant and sat down, and I saw a couple with 3 crazy kids and paid for their meal without telling them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think those are good things in that in their place they are, but I was using it like as an exception to tithing, like to a church, because I should have been giving at least like if anything, I was raised in church, and um, I should have been tithing to a local church that I had found, because that is giving back to the, you can call it a community, but the church needs well, that's a trick answer or trick word, but the church doesn't need your tithe for the church to continue in terms of like
Not the mission, but
not the mission.
it needs it for the operation of the building, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
So what I think you're saying is there's some truth in all parts of this, right? The energy bill doesn't pay for itself. You know, the AC repair doesn't pay for itself. So absolutely, I think that, we do have, as the church, because, we are the church, right? The people are the church. We have a responsibility to help support the church, which can look all sorts of different ways, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I kind of feel guilty. Like, it's not I just kind of feel depressed now when I think about, like, yeah, I gave all these games away so we could hang out, and like on one hand I kind of still feel solid about it, and that's why I'm a little like not confused, but it's like what was my heart really into, and like that is a little blurred for me, because I I had manic purchases, and so it's like some of those manic purchases have been I've been able to benefit from them today. Like, I have a computer that was decent and then became much better after some manic purchases. And then my purchases were paid off. And so now I'm the beneficiary of some nicer things. But I would not have bought those things necessarily if I was in my right mind. So it's like, yes, these are good to have, and but it's just I'm blessed and thankful that all things worked out well, because it couldn't have, or it may not have worked out well in other situations. Like my my life story with it just, a lot of things could have turned out differently, and I could be dead, or by different ways. Like, I was speeding, so a car could have pulled out in front of me, and I could have lost a life and taken life. When I was manic, I wasn't eating, so that was I could have starved because I just couldn't eat, and so there's a lot of just a lot of things that happen, and so I don't want to take credit for like making a financial purchase that helps somebody else, basically. Like,
right. And I think it's when God puts it on your heart to help somebody, it is an opportunity for you to be a blessing. And I think you will be blessed from that. I mean, the Bible does teach us that, but it's not that if you're doing it for that reason, you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? There's the heart problem, and I think that's kind of part of it. So let me read this to you. So this is Matthew 23, 23, Jesus is basically ripping the Pharisees, right? Like, this is where he is the righteous, the self-righteous religious of the day, per se. He says, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law: justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things." Just, you pick up on little things as you're looking at different things. What is that? What do you take from that? What do you get out of that?
For me, I look at it as there's like a verse that says, live justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. Um, it the mercy aspect of it is, um, God also says, "I desire mercy, not sacrifice," and it sucks because I don't remember verses like where they're at. I just kind of remember the gist.
You know the words.
Yeah, and so it is for me. I look at that and think that I should be like the Pharisees should be ashamed of themselves for they're just doing it like financially to a point of, especially in some other parts of the Bible, it talks about like they were doing it for promotion of themselves, but they were forgetting like the poor and the needy, and so the mercy of just like, oh, I gave my 10%. That's a different way to look at it, as like, oh, I gave my 10% to the church, but I can't give it. I don't want to give it to a needy person too, or something like that. Like they were justifying everything by that. So that's a different way of looking at it as well.
I think that I take a couple things away from that verse. First off, God doesn't need our money.
Mm-hmm.
And the argument on the other side is it's his money to begin with, but he doesn't. We'll call it our money just because I think we're humans and we stake claim to the money we earn. Okay, he doesn't need our money. He especially doesn't want our money if we're not. If our heart's not in the right spot, as I'm hitting my mic, if our heart's not even in the right spot and we're not living it, he doesn't want our money. But then I think the other side of that message is, if you're not going to give joyfully, he doesn't want our money, right? Like they're doing this like, here, no, I got you, man. I'm going to take credit for that there golden bar here. I'm going to give that to you. And hey, that was me, guys. I gave that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and by the way, hey, I'm going to make fun of that dude and call him a jerk and laugh at him, right? His point, I think, being is get your heart right first, and then let's start working on this idea of tithing and offering, and they are important things. And I think that oftentimes we get so hung up on that. Some churches get hung up on that idea, that concept of, we heard somebody that got a letter in the mail and said, "Where's your tithe?" If I ever got that letter from a church, I would. Bye, Felicia. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gotten a letter about tithe in my church, but you know what it was? It was
here's how much you've given.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, I truly think, I truly in my heart think that more than focusing in on an amount, we can call it a 10th, a 50th, a 5th,
an 1/8, a gram.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. He's wow, cryptic, Tyler. I think he wants us to give it with a heart that it desires to give. And it might be $1, right? We start somewhere. It might be helping the homeless man on the corner. It might be paying for the car behind you in the drive-thru. But I think he wants a willing giver. He wants a humble giver. He wants a giver who is living, who is not just coming to church on Sunday, writing the check, flaunting the check, because we've met those people, right, in life.
I mean, some people think that will get them to heaven.
Absolutely, and what do we know? No, it won't. There's nothing you can do. What is it? The love verses. I mean, really, we're put on this earth to love. I mean, that's what Christ did. He loved everybody. But if we love, we've done. If without love, we've got nothing, right?
Yeah, it's
we
impossible
can
to please him.
we can't please God without love, and love is the core of salvation. If you really look at it, Jesus died for us out of love for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sacrificial love. no strings attached love. No love that is unconditional, I guess is the word I'm trying to get at. I can't English, I tell you sometimes it's a third language because I've got like hillbilly and something else in the mix and then English. So, but unconditional love, right? We start there. And if we start doing things out of love, I think other things start to fall in place because I think our hearts become more giving. And I do understand. But we talked here, church we go to, right? We don't pass the plate anymore. We don't have the offering tray.
Plate.
What do you even call it? I can't even get the words out anymore.
Hey, a tray would be really big for the offering.
It would be, right? But we don't pass it anymore. And I think that I like that because I think that the message is there's a couple spots you can give an offering. You can give it electronically as well. But I think the message is, hey, yeah, we want you here first. We want to get your heart right first. And then when God puts it on your heart, you'll give. And I truly do think there's something to that. I think that we also know that if you come to a church for the first time and the message you hear is, you're giving us money and why aren't you giving us more money? Right? Or you should be ashamed you're not giving us money. That scares people away,
It does. I mean, I feel like there's got to be a way that we can educationally talk about tithe in a sense because everybody's just sensitive about money. And
especially we look at the times. I mean, right, it's hard times. Money is a sensitive subject because times are harder. But we know that God will bless us the more we give. Once again, though, we shouldn't be giving for that reason. It's kind of a vicious cycle.
Well,
but maybe Tyler, is it go back to? And I'm sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to. But does it go back to the idea of the importance of growing the church? And when I say growing the church and developing those subgroups, right? Those smaller groups where we truly teach, and we teach in those groups, and we really focus in because it is sensitive, I think it needs to be a transparent conversation. A lot of times from the pulpit when you hear it, it is, I'm being told, right, or talked to. I'm not able to have a conversation back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. There has to be conversation about it.
Yeah, it's hard to your pastor is you're the shepherd of the flock of the people. He's not the grand or ultimate shepherd. He's just holding himself accountable to just, I don't know how to say it, but for him to not talk about tithe, it's kind of hard because you want the educator of the local masses to be able to speak on the subject.
Correct.
And so I had a thought and now I lost it.
I hate when that happens.
I know. I think it was something to the effect of the blessing. That's right. So people talk about you can't outgive God and giving your tithe. Some people tithe gross, some people tithe net. So it's just there's different things, and they always say you'll be blessed. Well, that blessing may not be more money. It could just be financial, not financial, emotional
stability,
clarity,
a humble heart, a friendship.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It's not always about I give 10% and I'll get 20%.
Correct.
And
we know God does say He'll meet every need.
Yeah,
and it does, and I get it. Like sometimes it's to faithfully give, right? That man, and I think we've all done it at times. Do we all do it well enough? Probably not. But to faithfully give is tough. I think from the pulpit, I think the biggest thing as a pastor, not with God Almighty, I'm not a pastor, but I think the delivery. I think it's one of those things that they have to be aware, right, of how the delivery could be perceived.
Yeah.
Not that they care what people think of them. I'm going to screw this all up. the point is right. There should be some awareness of, the goal is to grow the kingdom. So there should be some awareness of the impact of the words that come out of the mouth. But that's life in general. We should be
Right.
cautious of that. So that's why I just love, like, the conversation we had the other night about it was a small group conversation. And we had a person that said, wow. What did he say?
Well,
In a roundabout way.
yeah. It was something, if we're talking about the same person, which we don't want to break covenant either, but the general gist was I could be tithing more. Like, it was convicting to that person that they were more or less not as giving as they realized they could have been or
Right.
should have been.
Right. And even then we had that conversation because I think the individual, it was kind of a light bulb moment of I could be doing more. I could be giving more. And
That's time, talent.
there we go. And I think that sometimes, and I think that's where we were getting to from the beginning, sometimes we may not be in the best financial spot. So sometimes I think we do have to find other ways to give. And I think that's that other piece of that conversation is how else can you give to help make this church grow, and touch people, touch the world, live out the Great Commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through the church. We are the church, but we got to be his hands and feet. And I think it is a very, it's when you kind of look at it and you step back, I don't want to say take the money out of it literally, but you kind of take a little bit of the idea of the money out of it, right? And you go back to the mission behind the tithe or the offering, whatever it looks like, and you're willing to live unselfishly and sacrificially. Giving will happen in wonderful ways. We've all had moments, Tyler. I know I've seen you do it, and just where there's the conviction to do something, and it could be give money, it could be put a coat on somebody's back, give somebody a toboggan, chase somebody across the store to give them some money. It could be give a homeless guy breakfast, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're willing to do it, and you do it, and you drive away, and you say thank you, God, because have you ever done that where it's like, man, thank you, because the blessing was it touched me, right? It touched me knowing that maybe I showed a little bit of light for you.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a conviction of like, you know what, I have the money, I should be, like you go through the drive-thru or something, you're like, you know what, I have $5 extra to spare, and I could give that out instead of hoarding it for myself. But at the same time, I look at it as it's something that I don't, as we talked about earlier, it's like I don't want to flaunt that. It's just like, I feel convicted, or maybe conviction is not the right word because sometimes that has like a negative connotation,
yeah.
But jinx. But yeah, so it really plays on like one time I know that someone had a sign that said I need money, and I was like, I can provide food, I can't provide money. And so it was one of those things for me that I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but especially in a cashless society right now that we have, I was able to like possibly meet a need but not the need. And so and I'm not here to toot my own horn because I don't even know if I did the right thing, but it was just something that I felt led to do. And I at that time I kind of been my church was kind of like that may be the better thing to do because of the age of drugs and stuff like that, where
Sure.
it may be better to give somebody food than money. And it's hard with panhandlers because you don't know if they're legit or if they're.
If there's a limo parked out back.
Yeah, exactly. Because they can. You can probably live in a limo though, but
You could. You could. That wouldn't be half bad, probably.
yeah, but it has like that window seat and everything.
Yeah,
You can, like, you're having an argument with your spouse or something, you just put that window up.
I can only imagine the argument that would ensue from that.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tyler, though, you here's what I would say. You met a need to help him meet the need. So does that make sense? We may meet needs in this world for others to help ultimately God meet the need, which the need for all of us is him. So that's us being the light. I get it, but it goes back to the idea of when he puts it on your heart, you go, you move, right? You move to meet a need. And I think that that's the best way to look at it. And I don't think you meant it to come out like, hey, I don't know if I met the need, but you met a need. Well, meeting a need is the mission.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sometimes you said we're convicted, like not of a crime, but our hearts are convicted. Just to clarify that for the people of the world, right? Conviction is not always comfortable. And what I mean by that is God will tell us things or give us a gut feeling, right? A lot of times that's how it comes, I think. And it will be uncomfortable. We'll go tag on it. I don't want to do this, but at the end of the day, you drag yourself out of the car and you do it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, just because it's been put on your heart, it doesn't mean that you're going to be like, let's do this. Here we go. You know, it doesn't mean we're going to be excited and hunky-dory. It's not going to be rainbows, unicorns, and butterflies every time. But God, every time, there's that English thing again. But God wants us, one way or the other, to overcome ourselves, to do what he needs us to do, to meet a need so he can meet the need.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have to give, like, that's the whole thing is, like, you could have, you'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take this money for myself and leave. And, but if there's that tug at your heart, there's always that opportunity. Yeah. And so, sometimes maybe you can't give. Like I, was explaining one time that, I see people on the side of the road and I have nothing to offer them. I don't have, anything in my trunk that would be of use to somebody. I don't have the knowledge to work on a car, especially on the side of the road. So I can just pray. Like, that's all I can do. And so I have to trust God that that's what I needed to do is, like, Lord, please keep them safe. Like, I don't want to hear about them on the news. I don't say that, but
right.
But yeah, like, that's the heart and goal of it is, like, just, Lord, keep them safe. Hopefully you can get their help and needs and needs met. And I mean, a lot of times people are waiting and they call a tow truck or something, so there's really nothing they can do, but they're in the process. Yeah. And so that's for me.
We fail so often at giving people prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how often, and this could be a whole other podcast, right? If you say, hey, I'll pray for you, you better pray for them.
Yeah.
Like, and I've tried to get to the point, and I talked to somebody, they do journaling with it, like they'll take notes. I'm not a corporate, I don't want to be a corporate person, right? Meaning I don't want there to be structure. If I say I'm going to pray for you, I want to get to the point, and I'm trying to do this, even if it's a, hey, real quick, God, be with Tyler, you know, watch over him, meet his need, whatever that is. You know, if there's anything I can do, you know, let me help. Pray right there, even if it's simple, if it's little. Don't giving people false hope.
Yeah.
Through not following through with prayer, I think is one of the biggest ways we fail in giving. But a whole other conversation. I know, wormhole, big wormhole, but giving is an awesome thing. It is better to give than it is to receive. Truly, we know that. I love giving presents to people and Christmas presents. I love it. I love the joy on people's faces, and it makes my heart feel good.
Yeah.
And I think if we remember that if we get to that point in our walk with the Lord, and if it's our time, our talent, our treasure, whatever we're giving, if we can get that heart, that childlike giving heart of wanting to give with an abundance of joy to see an abundance of joy, I think that that's where the blessings will unfold, and that's where the mission will be lived out. So, Tyler, it's been a good one, brother. I think that, as always, we're scatterbrained fellas.
Yeah. I mean, that was, I think that one worked out a little bit better, though, than last time. Even though last time was good. I mean, it really was a good thing that we talked about, the topics that we talked about. It just felt a little off for us, but not always do we have the podcast of our dreams.
No.
But we make it work, and that is, I would say that we are talking, and hopefully the Lord gets the glory for it.
Yeah.
And that it's. I'm not going to sit here and say it's tough to podcast. In some ways, it's super easy. You just you get to shed light on personal things and talk about the Lord. Like there's people that are going out there and serving in different ways and under way more stress and pressure than we are. But we're just able to enjoy and take the time out of our days and try to get together and talk about the Lord and talk about our lives and whatever I say at the beginning, family, friends, faith, and anything in between, basically.
Yeah.
But so.
And if there's anything you guys want to hear or hear us ramble about, put it out there. I think that'd be cool to see somebody. See somebody challenge us with a topic or a question, and we need that too. I think we need that challenge sometimes because I think that pushes us. So
yeah,
I guess until you hear us next time, I know it's been a couple weeks off, but that's why we got this name. So please bear with us. We'll see you next time.